Hi guys, today I'm going to do a quick overview of how the internet works related to your house. The idea here is just to give you a high level overview to help you make a more informed decision about where you stand on net neutrality, a lot of the headlines it's making right now. So on this side you have your local neighborhood, maybe your city, your town. You have your house, neighbors, you have your regional ISP, your cable company, your phone company. You have global ISPs. Now there's only a handful of these around the globe. You might hear it referenced as a tier 1 ISP. You don't deal with these, but your regional ISPs do. So they're buying capacity from these large backbone providers. And then you have your applications on the far right here. They also buy capacity from these global ISPs. These global ISPs are what make up what you traditionally think of as the internet. And just a side note, a lot of these companies now are either buying or peering directly with these regional ISPs at a low cost to try to avoid some of this and make a better end user experience. But just to keep my example simple, we're going to assume that they all funnel through like this. So within your neighborhood, with net neutrality, the ISPs have to treat all traffic equally. But they do oversubscribe. Just to keep the math simple, let's say everybody in your neighborhood has 100 meg service. They're going to do a 3-to-1 oversubscription, again just for an example. So you got 3 people, all 100 meg in the neighborhood. They're going to do a 3-to-1 oversubscription, build this connection with 100. And again, just to keep the example simple here, let's say they use the same formula for oversubscription with the global ISP. We're not going to get too much into what these guys do because their models are a little more easier to predict because they only have to worry about their particular application. So in this example, we got 100 meg all around, 3-to-1 oversubscription, 3-to-1 oversubscription. Everybody's happy. You start watching Netflix. Everything's good. Maybe your neighbor starts watching YouTube. Funnels back. You got to treat everything equally, but for now at least, the oversubscription's working. Everything's good. But let's say Netflix rolls out HD, which they already have. So now you're going to be using more bandwidth. And then YouTube does HD. So now your neighbor's going to be using more bandwidth. And then your other neighbor starts doing something on Facebook. Eventually, the oversubscription can only get them so far. Let's say everybody starts streaming at once. All of a sudden, this 3-to-1 oversubscription doesn't work anymore. So they have to buy more capacity, upgrade the neighborhood, which in turn, they also have to buy more capacity from the global ISP. And everything's fine, but it just keeps growing. The traffic just keeps growing. Let's say you upgrade to a 200 meg service, your neighbor goes up to a 500 meg service. Now they got to keep upgrading this, upgrading this. It's just a never-ending cycle. Netflix rolls out 4K, more bandwidth, more upgrades, more upgrades, more upgrades. Costs just keep going up on this side because you, at the end of the day, you have to pay for these upgrades, you have to pay for these upgrades. They roll out 4K. You get the idea. It just keeps going up. Now with net neutrality out of the way, your regional ISPs are going to be able to prioritize traffic. And that's not necessarily such a bad thing from a technical standpoint. Most corporate networks already do this today. So your desk phone, for example, has higher priority over your web browsing traffic. That allows your corporate networks to put more stuff within the same amount of capacity without having to keep upgrading and upgrading and upgrading over and over and over again every month. So let's say in this example, they give Netflix higher priority than everything else. So when it gets to this pipe, it gets high priority, back to the houses, So within the neighborhoods, it's getting higher priority. Within these links, it's getting higher priority. It would traditionally be on this side of the link, just for an example. So now that's got priority. So at some point, this will stabilize. And the upgrades in the neighborhood will stabilize. Because they don't have to keep treating all traffic equally and just keep increasing and increasing and increasing to maintain enough capacity for that oversubscription that we talked about. Because now all of a sudden Netflix is going to get higher priority. Facebook is going to get shoved down. Let's say in this, just for an example, Google, YouTube, they're going to get shoved down. Netflix is everything's happy. So it's almost like they're able to oversubscribe within already oversubscribing. So they get to put more traffic on the same pipe. And all that's going to happen is, let's say Facebook has lower priority, you probably won't even notice a difference at first. As long as they make sure there's enough capacity here that even though your Facebook traffic is getting lower priority, if there's enough capacity here, like I said, you probably won't even notice. It allows them to stabilize their costs and not have to keep upgrading all the time. Just give Netflix priority, and only when Netflix starts using up more and more capacity and it starts affecting the lower priority traffic, then they're going to have to upgrade this. So only at that point are they going to have to go make upgrades. So it just allows them to go a lot longer before they have to upgrade these links in your neighborhood, because they're shoving more traffic on the same pipe. Now the rub really isn't so much this. Corporate networks already do this today. It's no big deal. But the rub is who gets to decide what gets priority. It's going to be your regional ISP in this case. Now, do you like that prioritization that they're giving? Do you mind the Netflix in this example has higher priority than YouTube? Maybe you like YouTube better. So this might affect your streaming at some point when these pipes get more and more congested. At some point, Netflix is going to have better performance than YouTube. You might not like that, but you won't have any choice in the matter, because your regional ISP is the one making that decision. Whereas today, everything's treated equally, and again, they have to keep upgrading their pipes to allow everybody to have the same prioritization. So that's really the main issue here, is who gets to decide. Now, me personally, I like the prioritization model, because like I said, corporate networks already use it today. It makes a lot of sense. But I'm just personally afraid of how they're going to prioritize the traffic, and if it's things that I like it, they're going to get priority or not. So we'll just have to wait and see how everything shakes out. I personally hope that the regional ISPs use a technical approach to this, and for example, give all streaming video priority over everything else. So if they do it equally, and just as an application, a high-level application, say streaming video gets priority over everything, I don't care if it's YouTube or Netflix, give it priority over everything. That would be fine. I think most people would be happy with that. As long as it's clearly spelled out in your contract with your regional ISP that streaming video generically gets higher priority. So there's just some things to think about. This doesn't really get into any of the legal aspects. So let's say, for example, your regional ISP gives their streaming video higher priority than everything else. Well, then that's more of a legal issue. So we'll have to wait and see how that turns out too. But just in general, that's how prioritization works. Again, from a technical aspect, it's not such a bad thing. We'll just have to wait and see how the ISPs shake out their actual lists and their terms of service. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it down below. Thanks for watching.